Hey, hello. So this is a quick video about how Phreak doesn't really know what he's talking about when it comes to Caitlyn. so this is what he says about Caitlyn. I think Caitlyn's biggest problem for pro play, contrasted with solo queue, is her early game. Considering that her late game took a significant hit with the previous attack speed level changes, it clearly took her team fighting down enough to make her balance in solo queue. The fact that pros haven't changed their pick priority in the slightest is from one of the two things. One, they're dumb and Caitlyn is not broken anymore. This is typically my go-to rationale because pros are insanely change averse until it's shoved in their faces. For example, both Caitlyn and Calista had been untouched throughout most of the spring split until now, and yet only just recently have become top tier. Consider that Ezreal was the go to after Ash Varus, and yet now is entirely unseen by Caitlyn, Calista, or permapick, despite those three being essentially the same champions they were during spring. Combined with her somewhat mediocre, yeah, Ali,
Mediocrity?
yeah, mediocre. My bad. Yeah,
Oh,
mediocre. No, no. Well, right, we're just both tired. Okay, so yeah, cut us some slack again. Showing in solo queue. I don't. What? So I don't want Caitlyn to get gigantic nerfs because I. Why are you laughing? Hello?
you're funny.
No. Okay. I don't want Caitlyn to get gigantic nerfs because I don't think she actually needs them. Final call still comes down to designer and charge, but that's why I gave my feedback. And then number two, the early game is the reason they're valuing Caitlyn. This means early laning phase needs to get hit. The Q change should do a lot in reducing her push power, and I thought that if you nerfed Q and W significantly, the champion would basically disappear forever. It would certainly be a garbage can in solo queue. I actually suggested softening the attack speed level nerf from 7.14 to keep solo queue Caitlyn fair, but the designer didn't want that. Okay, so first off, I think it's funny that where's he going? Okay, so he says, for example, both Caitlyn and Calista had been untouched throughout most of the spring split until now, and yet only recently become top tier. Well, first off, I don't know what he means by recently became top tier because it's like, what does he mean by recently? Recently be like within the past week or past 2 months or something. I'm not sure. He doesn't really clarify, but he says that. Okay, so they weren't not touched throughout most of the spring split. Spring split was January to what, March, Ali, or April?
Yeah, and then the playoffs
March or
lasted
April?
until the
April.
end of April. Well, it was until March, but then playoffs were till the end of April, so the whole season, spring split is till the end of April.
Okay, so then he says until now. So that means recently they're starting to be picked, and now are more recently become top tier. Okay, so when did the whole entire 80 carry got mega buffed happen, guys? On let's look. Okay, May 3rd. So yeah, so that was after pretty much everything, all that happened. So yeah, okay, no duh that no one's like Caitlyn. People were still picking Caitlyn. I saw Caitlyn before, just not so rampant. And now in what we call LCS, apparently she was being picked and abused a ton. And again, the reason is just because they buffed all AD carry items. They like, for instance, a year ago, IE got a 5 AD AD buff. But that wasn't a game changer. But then with 7.9, the cost went down by 200, and I believe like Zeal went down by 100, and also Lord Dominus Regards when did it go down? I'm not quite sure. But I know they buffed it. I know they buffed the Last Whisper to make it better, so that you can deal with armor penetration with a cheaper item. So yeah, all those little things matter, and it's like Phreak lives in another planet, and he acts like that never happened. Yeah, he act because then he's saying that, oh, the champions are the same. Okay, well, no doubt the champions are the same. They didn't get reworked or anything during this time, but what they changed the items and made the items cheaper, so that's why they're being picked. And that and I just really don't get why he is really ignoring that fact because he just says they're the same champion when like even Calista, even though she rushes Blade of the Rune King, which only got nerfed ever since, although they're quite light nerfs, honestly. they lowered the cost of Zeal items as well as armor pen items. So, oh, I call it armor pen, so like lower down regards. So that does impact her as well. And also with Calista, no one really plays Calista in solo queue unless they're duo queue, and Calista is only good in duo queue and LCS play because of the communication required. And yeah, so I really don't get why you talk about that. It sort of annoyed me because I don't go out of my way to look for free comments at all. I just sort of saw it when I was looking at the PBE and it said, "Oh, look at Phreak's comment here." So I read it and I was just like, "This guy, I just don't understand. Like this guy, like all he does is play League of Legends all day, talks about League of Legends all day, and this is the best he has." Okay, so I was very disappointed in what he had to say. And the other thing that actually bugged me was he doesn't like. He says this. I also, in general League of Legends, hate field changes on rank. I hate duration scaling because it makes you constantly have to learn new interactions throughout a game. Can I Caitlyn trap a Blitzcrank hook? Who knows? In all caps. I think cooldown charge slash time is a much better way to scale crowd control with rank. To continue the thought, I think arm time is a much worse one to tinker with than root duration. Arm time has substantial gameplay impacts that everyone has to play around, and yet no one can know reliably. Okay, first off, I don't understand how he's talking about duration scaling, and then how he doesn't like it, and then he compares it to then he uses the example of can I Caitlyn trap a Blitzcrank cook? Okay, what does that have to do with anything with scaling, like like a scaling stun or a scaling? I don't know. I mean, like yeah, scaling stun slash roots. That has nothing to do with some new thinking you can Caitlyn trap a Blitzcrank cook. Okay. Like, and the other thing that's very strange is where is it? Oh yeah, I don't like that he says arm time has substantial gameplay impacts that everyone has to play around, and yet no one can know reliably. What do you mean no one can know? So he should speak for himself, you know? Like he's literally speaking for everyone. Like no one can know. I know, Phreak. So how about you stop acting like people don't know? Can't be good. Just because you're not as good as me, Phreak. Just because aren't as good, you can't be saying stuff like that. So, Allie, what do you think about Phreak, honestly, based on what I said?
An airhead. It's an airhead.
An airhead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and come on, there's something else. Come on, come on.
All the money went to his head.
Yep, all the money
Yeah.
got into his head, and now he gets to say whatever he wants.
All,
And
all the
and
all the fame.
yep, and so yeah, this is the guy that like we're not haters of Phreak, although we don't really like him as much. Okay, so because he's a bit of a hypocrite with other stuff, like saying, "Oh yeah, you should be nice to people," and then he acts really passive aggressive in solo queue. So I don't think he's someone you should really listen to when it comes to advice on how to act in game or even strategy. What? Do you remember that? Don't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought I'd give some insight about these upcoming Caitlyn changes. So I mean that's really it, right? I don't understand. I don't think so.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Tired.
yeah. We're just gonna go to bed. Yeah, we are. Yep. Bye.